No, it's over here. I think it might be good to use it, though. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Greater Naples. My name is Tony Fisher. I'm honored to serve this congregation as its minister. Today we reflect on our losses, those dear to us who have passed from our lives, and those whose service and sacrifice are brought to attention on this Memorial Day weekend. At the very beginning of each service, I've made it a recent practice to express gratitude for those in this congregation who have served the congregation as volunteers. Today, I would like to thank anyone and everyone present who has served our country in the armed forces or in supporting roles of our servicemen and women. So you didn't give me a chance to ask people to stand if they have done that. So if you're a veteran or have served, please rise in the service. Michael. And I would like to thank Major Michael Finkel for being here once again as our worship associate.
Thank you, Tony, unprivate Tony, and good morning. We're so glad that you've joined us here, whether you're in the sanctuary this morning or watching us from Facebook or at home or sitting on our pavilion. Please know you're always welcome here. We are a welcoming congregation, freely seeking intellectual and spiritual growth. We strive to create a larger community of peace, justice, and love. Here, we learn and grow together and try to live our values out in public. If you're new to our congregation, we are especially grateful that you found us. Our hope is to make you feel welcome and help you find ways to connect. And now let's take a deep breath and settle ourselves into this time of worship with the morning prelude.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're sisters of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are one. 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 We are one.
We come to this time and place to recognize the full breadth of our human experience, to honor our loves and our losses, our trials and our triumphs. We come to rekindle the flame of memory and hope, to reaffirm the way of the open mind and the full heart, and to renew our faith in the holiness, goodness, and beauty of life. Please join me in the chalice lighting words you'll see on the screen or on your order of service. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the unity we seek. And let's rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, Morning Has Broken. It's number 38 in the gray hymnal. The words will be on your screen.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Memorial Day was first celebrated in South Carolina within months after the end of the Civil War. The original participants were freed enslaved people who honored the 257 dead Union soldiers who died for their freedom. It has since become a national holiday in 1971 to honor those who have died in military service to our country. We baby boomers grew up with veterans and veteran relatives, and often are veterans ourselves, and we know of people who died in service. But I would like to suggest that it is fair and reasonable to remember others who did not die in service, but who were wounded in service. Their numbers were multiples of those who died, and they have lived with their wounds, physical and psychological, throughout their lives. And I suggest that there are many other groups whose sacrifices and wounds deserve recognition. Let us remember the peace officers, firefighters, and other personnel who died or were wounded in service. One of my high school classmates was a policeman who died such. Let us remember the civilians worldwide who have been injured by warfare in horrible numbers in the past 2 centuries. Let us remember the enslaved people who lived their lives under centuries of oppression and a century of discrimination when their equal rights were systematically inhibited. Let us remember the First Nations of our continents who died in huge percentages when their existence and humanity were ignored by the colonizing powers. Let us remember those wounded and murdered due to domestic violence and random, and sometimes not random, gun violence. Let us remember the women and the women's organizations who have fought for equal rights and opportunity for women and for women's autonomy regarding their health care choices. My grandmother was a suffragette. Let us remember our fellow inhabitants who have faced discrimination due to national origin, sexual identity, or the practice of their faith. Let us remember our neighbors who have suffered from frequent natural disasters. The lists are living and ongoing, but it is not inevitable that they will remain. The affected groups continue to advocate for themselves with the support of congregations like ours. Let us not sink into despondency, but renew our commitment to positive changes as we determinatively hold these groups in our thoughts and actions.
Michael's reflection appears in today's Naples Daily News. This Memorial Day prayer, written by the Reverend Barbara Pescan, is one of my favorite writers within the Unitarian Universalist universe. She asks us to consider this day, this weekend. Spirit of life, whom we have called by many names in thanksgiving and in anguish, bless the poets and those who mourn. Send peace for the soldiers who did not make the wars, but whose lives were consumed by them. Let strong trees grow above graves far from home. Breathe through the arms of their branches. The earth will swallow your tears while the dead sing, "No more, never again. Remember me." For the wounded ones and those who received them back, let there be someone ready when the memories come, when the scars pull and the buried metal moves, and forgiveness for those of us who were not there for our ignorance. And in us, veterans in a forest of 1,000 fallen promises, let new leaves of protest grow on our stumps. Give us courage to answer the cry of humanity's pain, and with our bare hands, out of full hearts, with all our intelligence, let us create peace. With these words, and by lighting this candle, we honor those who have been directly affected by war. If you have lost someone in your family who has served and died in the service of this country and would like to call their names out, please do so.
John Dias.
And with this candle, we honor those who have been left behind, those of us whose duty is to remember, to act, and to continue the service in the name of peace. Very stubborn.
Imagine it.
Let's share a moment of silence as we remember those whose names have been spoken, those in our lives who have served, the effects that we've all felt of violence and war.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom. He transfigured you and me, as he died to make man holy. Let us live to make men free. His day is marching on.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. I'm gonna study marching on. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. I'm gonna study war no more. Study war no more. Study war no more.
The Cure by Albert Hofstadter. We think we get over things. We don't get over things. Or say we get over the measles, but not a broken heart. We need to make that distinction. The things that become part of our experience never become less a part of our experience. How can I say it? The way to get over a life is to die. Short of that, you move with it. Let the pain be pain, not in the hope that it will vanish, but in the faith that it will fit in, find its place in the shape of things, and be then not any less pain, but true to form. Because anything natural has an inherent shape and will flow towards it. And life is as natural as a leaf. That's what we're looking for. Not the end of a thing, but the shape of a thing. Wisdom is seeing the shape of your life without obliterating, getting over a single instant of it.
On this Memorial Day, we honor the bits and pieces of all the lives that have influenced our own. Lives that, despite their passing, are with us still. The stories of people dear to us, and even not so dear, that have been woven into our own lives, helping shape our own character. When we experience a loss large enough to break our hearts open even just a little, there lies the fertile ground for recovery and growth. If we rush too quickly to cover our wounds, if we try to bury the pain, we lose an opportunity. Exploring the brokenness, as hard as that might be, so that we might understand both the reality of our loss and the fears and uncertainty that fuel our grief. That will allow us to claim it for ourselves and move forward, owning both grief and memory. Wisdom, so the poet said, is seeing the shape of your life in its fullness, hurts and warts and all, without trying to cover up a single instant of it. And I would add that love, the love of those who remain with us, offer us the strength and courage to reshape our lives when we are forced time and again to face a new reality that comes with loss and death. A colleague of mine once called attention to the difference between the words remembering and remembrance. They share the same root but have different meanings. Remembering is a passive thing, a simple act of recalling the past, the images of people or events that flash through our brain, sometimes triggered by a sight or a sound or a smell, sometimes coming from out of the blue. Remembering is as natural as breathing. Remembrance is harder. Remembrance is active. It takes up a memory, and in reflecting upon it, makes meaning from it. And we emerge from that process changed. It's what we hope to do on Memorial Day when we seek inspiration from our collective past to guide our actions towards peace today and into the future. It's what I find myself doing after each and every memorial service or celebration of life that I attend or at which I officiate. At its best, a service of remembrance celebrates the whole person, not only lifting up the best of an individual's character, but also recognizing the struggles and appreciating the efforts made to live with dignity despite whatever challenges they faced. In the lives of those we have lost, we find lessons. Sometimes lessons for how not to live. But often, quite often, we find lessons for living well, lessons in perseverance, lessons in humility, lessons in generosity. There are, of course, so many people who have left pieces of themselves with us. Some who come to mind occasionally and are remembered fondly. Some who continue to influence who we are and what we do each and every day. So let us take some time together in silence to bring into this moment those people who you remember, people who have made a difference in your lives. Let's especially hold in remembrance those people and those experiences that have somehow transformed our lives and move us still. Some time in silence. And as we remain seated, let's join together in our centering hymn, I Know This Rose Will Open. It's number 396 in the gray hymnal. We'll do this as a round.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
I know this rose will
I know
open.
this rose will
I know my fears will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
This rose will open.
We offer you now a time to express your remembrances through the lighting of a candle. We'll begin this ritual by lighting a single candle of community in memory of those of our congregation who have died since the beginning of 2022. Cheryl Ash, Jake Rose, Lyle Warnock, Jim Lancaster, Jane Anderson, Glenn Looney, Kathy Motley, George Anthony, James Ward, David Dobler, Bill Von Segern, David Griffith, Jeff Yeager, Flo Beckler, Tom Eddy. We light an additional 4 candles, candles of remembrance. We light one for our grief, one for our courage, one for our memories and one for our love.
This candle represents our grief. We own the pain of losing loved ones, of dreams that go unfulfilled, of hopes that evaporate in despair.
This candle represents our courage. It symbolizes the courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to share our feelings honestly and openly with each other, and to dare to hope in the midst of pain.
Got candled up here. I don't think that gadget is a keeper, Tony. This candle represents our memories for the times we laughed together, cried together, were angry at each other, or overjoyed with each other. We light this candle for the memories of caring and joy we shared together.
This candle represents our love. The love we've given, the love we have received, the love that has gone unacknowledged and unfelt, and the love that has been shared in times of joy and sorrow. I invite you now to come forward as Michael takes one of our candles out to the pavilion. And take a light from any one of these votives and light your own candle of remembering or remembrance. It could be for a personal grief or sorrow or a joy that you're carrying this morning. Acknowledging the pieces of friends or loved ones that have remained in your life. Could be for someone who, still living, has made a profound difference in your life. It could be a candle for your own struggle. Should you wish to do so as you light a candle, feel free to speak a name or express your joy or sorrow. I urge you not to pass a lit candle back and forth, but each time to take a candle, light a candle, and then blow the candle out before passing it. Our candle lighting ritual. Please join me in the spirit of meditation. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. Share a little bit more time in silence.
We are here in the memory of those who have fallen, those who have fallen, those who have fallen. We are here in the memory of those who have fallen, here for the courage to be who we are, courage to be who we are. We are listening in the memory of those who have fallen, those who have fallen, those who have fallen. We are listening in the memory of those who have fallen, listening for the courage to be who we are, courage to be who we are. We are singing in the memory of those who have fallen, those who have fallen, those who have fallen. We are singing in the memory of those who have fallen, singing for the courage to be who we are, courage to be who we are. We are here in the memory of those who have fallen, those who have fallen, those who have fallen. We are here in the memory of those who have fallen, here for the courage to be who we are, courage to be who we are.
We grieve about many different things for many different reasons and to different degrees. And what we learn from our losses helps define who we are. We grow and change by reflecting on something or someone we've experienced or lost, and then acting on that reflection. We realize we've acted less than skillfully with someone we care about, and we grow. We see someone else acting with integrity. We consider their character, and we are inspired to change ourselves. We lose a loved one and reflect on how that person has impacted our own life, and in doing so, reinforce the lessons they have left with us. It's a sort of unfolding process of experience, reflection, and action repeating itself over and over from our earliest days, creating and recreating who we are. From our smallest griefs to our most difficult losses, it is only through our reflections, conscious and unconscious, that we learn and grow to come to terms with this life of joy and of sorrow. And it is only by our actions that we make real what we've come to understand. How often, though, do we ponder with any depth of thought these little milestones on the path of identity? So many pieces of our lives are like unopened gifts that pile up, patiently waiting to be looked at. If you are like me, too often you find that your busyness or your habits keep you from the time you might take to reflect. And to, with all the losses we have been experiencing as a society over the last few years, just considering the litany of things that Michael shared with us earlier. And with all the inequities that are being called to our attention, the world can seem so overwhelming. I know I have trouble processing it all. It can be mind-numbing. We sometimes seek simple solutions, which is why communities like this one are so important. Places where we can feel comfortable sharing our deepest thoughts, listening to others, and processing in small groups, in workshops, here in the sanctuary, or in a conversation out in the parking lot. It's one reason why at our memorial services we take the time to center the stories of those we've lost, not only through the prepared eulogies, but also in the time for sharing that is open to the congregation. In some small way, when we share something of our experience of another, or when we hear someone else share a story that resonates strongly, we are solidifying in our own minds, in our own memories, the pieces of that loved one we are carrying with us into our future. The power of sharing comes in both the telling and in the listening to ourselves tell the story, and somehow, in that process, from within our brokenness, we find that life begins to take on a new shape. In sharing the most important things about our connections with people and simply about being human, things bubble to the surface so they can be felt and internalized and taken up on our journey forward. We create the stories of our lives all the time with the choices and connections we make, our decisions about how we spend our time and our dollars, the people we look to for guidance. But to live well and build a better story, we need to stop periodically and take stock of where we've been and where we're going, who we've been traveling with, to consider what story is being conveyed by our everyday actions in this world. We need to consider our losses and our griefs, not avoiding the emotional pieces, but living through them and finding reasons to celebrate from within the brokenness. Grief never really ends. It just changes shape if we live with it and through it. In doing so, the shape of our own story changes and grows, and thus we make meaning for ourselves over and over. I've often thought that if there ever was a wise guru who sat on a mountaintop, she would not be dispensing her own wisdom, but would probably be asking those who labored up the mountain to tell their deepest stories. Because whatever answers there are to life's big questions, they will come from our living our way through all the loves and losses, from weaving the many pieces of ourselves together into some sort of tapestry. Whatever our values, whatever we consider to be most important in life, whoever modeled for us the best qualities of being human, let us choose those things and those models to guide our life choices. If we could all just acknowledge that our time here is truly finite, then we might fully awaken to each other and to all our differences, and to the world around us, and to the lessons that are there to be learned. The echoes of courage and hope and love, of perseverance and dignity given to us by those we have known, call us forward. The things we hold most dear are not really of ourselves. They exist in us and by the grace of the doings and sufferings of those who have gone before. At our best, we are a link in a long chain of giving and receiving. Our work is to expand on the gifts we have received and share those good pieces of ourselves with others, and especially those who will follow in our footsteps, bound as we are, as we all are, towards a more peaceful and loving world.
As we take time to reflect on today's words and music, let's also take time to show our gratitude for this community and all that it does. This morning's offering will be gratefully received. Please consider sending a contribution today. The information you need to donate is on the screen.
On the road bound for my home, the state of New Jersey and the hills I roam, thinking of the times that'll never be again. There's something I can't refuse, and it comes to my mind with every friend I lose. There'll be a time for me to die, but when I'm gone, I don't want you to weep for me. You just think of me before you go to bed at night. If I make it through, I'll come back in a dream to you, and I'll let you know that everything's all right. I just hope it ain't too soon. There's too much left here for me to do. The only thing I know is I'm not sure when I'll go. But when I do, I won't be afraid. I just think of the words that my uncle said. All that it is a little change. But when I'm gone, I don't want you to weep for me. You just think of me before you go to bed at night. If I make it through, I'll come back in a dream to you, and I'll let you know that everything's all right. So now I've made my peace, and I'll just keep singing till the day I cease, and you'll hear my voice come from afar. Look at the mountains, look at the trees. They make you feel better at times like these. And take it slow, easy as you go. But when I'm gone, I don't want you to weep for me. You just think of me before you go to bed at night. If I make it through, I'll come back in a dream to you. And I'll let you know that everything's alright. But when I'm gone, I don't want you to weep for me. Just think of me before you go to bed at night. If I make it through, I'll come back in a dream to you. And I'll let you know that everything's alright. And I'll let you know that everything's alright.
Of things that are happening. First of all, a week from today here in the sanctuary, after the service, there will be an orientation for anyone who's interested in learning more about the congregation and what we're about. There will be people around seeking your signature on petitions that will hopefully help us, a ballot initiative that will hopefully help us roll back government interference in personal choices in reproductive health care. Michael will be at the front door. Dina will be roaming around. And Janet Hoffman will be on the pavilion. So I hope you'll find them, and they will find you. Sean has an announcement.
Yes, we're trying something new this summer. On June 15th, which is a Thursday night at 7 o'clock in this room, the Zach Bartholomew Trio, it's a jazz trio, is going to be performing here. They're doing a concert called The High Priests of Bebop, the music of Thelonious Monk and Bud Powell. They're a fantastic trio. Zach Bartholomew, if you came to the Brandon Robertson Quartet performance out on the pavilion in January, he was the pianist for that. He lives in Miami, and he's bringing in two fantastic performers, bass and drums, with him. And tickets you can buy in advance for $20, and we'll have someone on the pavilion for the next 3 Sundays? Or no, sorry, in the foyer. For the next 3 Sundays. And so they're $20 in advance, $25 at the door. If you need to find it online, you can just Google UUCGN Zach Bartholomew, and it will come up. So, very good.
Thank you.
Hope to see you there.
Thank you. Let's rise as you're willing and able and join in singing our closing hymn, Come Thou Font of Every Blessing. The words will be on your screen, number 126 in the gray hymnal.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach our ever to be faithful, we still thy goodness prove. Come thou fount of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
A history with all who have passed. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them always. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. Go in peace. Go in love. Have a wonderful day.